cases because he's busy shuffling that extra land away with Ponders or Brainstorms. It's not like Standard where you just continually curve out and use your mana to the fullest. In this, you have one or two lands the entire game, and you got to take your time. You got to be able to tap out to play Tarmogoyf, and like you said, you might not get to untap after you play Tarmogoyf. So we will see. I'm interested to see Rug or Tommy's Rug Delver opening hand because that really kind of will tell us the pace of the game here.
Now, one thing I like about Wells' Rug Delver deck and, innovation that people have been making, to this deck is Gataxian Probe because information is key in the game of Magic. And if you do have information, especially as a Rug Delver player, it'll help you know when you can afford to tap out, when you can afford not to, what you have to be worried about, if your opponent faking things with all the mana they're adding to their pool. So Gataxian Probe, I think, is going to play a huge role in this matchup for Wells. And we'll see if he's able to draw them. Same thing can be said for Williams, too, because he's got 4 in his deck. So the free, I put in quotes, peak is going to be big in this match.
Yep. And life totals semi-relevant in this matchup because, of course, the less life Tommy has, the less tendrils he's going to need to win.
Yep.
But that doesn't really come into play too often. It comes more into play with hand disruption when you have less resources to battle with, more so than, you say, Force of Wills and Counter Magic. Pretty much Avery's got the main deck necessary to get through that. He's going to have Duress, a 4 of. He has Therapies. He's got ways to pull out those counter spells and able to go off through them. So,
well, Tommy Wells is going to take a mulligan down to at least 6 cards here. And, of course, don't forget our other matchup on the other side, my friends. We've got our 2 seed, Ty Thomason, playing blue-white Stoneblade against White Archer. Our 3 seed, playing blue-black Death Shadow. And as we do find out what's going on over there, we'll certainly let you guys know because the winner of that match is going to play the winner of this one.
oh yeah. So, 6 cards. Let's see if Tommy has a little bit better luck here. Finding out right now. Taking a look-see. He kind of deciding whether or not to go to 5 or not.
Not a good spot to be in if you have to.
Yeah, especially with Avery just keeping that 7. He will go to 5. And it's the danger of Legacy, more so than other formats, because you're sacrificing playing lots of land to play more powerful spells. So you have 18 land. And think about it in Standard how many times you see a 1-land hand and you got a mulligan. Legacy is way worse than that. You got 18 lands in your deck, 19 lands in your deck. You have to look at these 1-land hands all the time and then decide, is it worth it? Can I win with this hand? And a lot of times you can't. So Tommy going to 5 against a 7 kept ad nauseum hand. Tough situation to be in.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned 18 land deck, so it could very easily just been Tommy Wells just looking at his hands and just having no lands and going, hey, it sucks, got a mulligan. I mean, it doesn't happen a ton with Rug Delver, but at the same time, Rug Delver's deck that keeps a lot of 1-land hands because they don't have a choice. They have to.
Yeah, your deck is built for 1 land. I mean, obviously 2 land is more required or better anyway, but, you can live off 1.
Yeah, I mean, you oftentimes just see him keep a 1-lander. They play their 1 drop, and on turn 2, it's, I hope you don't counter this Ponder. I hope you don't counter this Brainstorm so I can find my other lands and fetch and do all the jazz that this deck does.
Yeah, I mean, Wasteland's another one that just comes in and doesn't really add to your land count, really, because you're too busy destroying their land with it.
Yeah.
And you're fine with that trade, of course. And we'll see here. I'm looking at his list. I don't see... Yeah, he's got the 1... So he's playing 1 Fork Bolt. Okay, so he has the 5 burn spells, which doesn't seem really relevant in this matchup, but getting Avery's life total down can hurt the ad nauseum plan.
Yep.
And we don't really see ad nauseum. That's kind of like the plan B of the deck.
Yeah.
It definitely would rather just kill you with Infernal Tutor or Lines of Diamond using all the rituals and then tutoring up the tendrils that way.
So, Polluted Delta getting a sacrifice. Williams going to move down to 19. He's going to go to basic land. I expect to see him search out quite a few basics in this matchup, assuming that he can. Of course, because you don't want to get wastelanded here for no reason, especially when you're playing a 15-land deck.
Yep, definitely not. Alright, so Avery, Swamp. Let's see what he's going to do. This probably means Duress is coming. Not many other reasons. And the beauty of being in the top 8 with this deck is that you can blind therapy a lot better when you know exactly what's going on.
That's true.
You're like, all right, well, and it is Duress. Duress is coming out right now to do some damage here.
All right, so the hand, you see a Wasteland, you see 2 copies of Gataxian Probe, a Delver of Secrets, and a Mist Rainforest. So it's actually a really good mulligan at 5. Wow.
I mean, it has a Delver.
That is a great mulligan to 5. He has 2 lands. Wasteland is actually relevant against this deck. He's got a actual land for Delver. He's got Cataxian Probe for information. So he's got a really, really good hand. You see Avery Williams' hand. He's got 2 Lion's Eye Diamond. He's got a Lotus Petal hanging out over there. So he might be able to go off on turn 2 depending on how things line up here.
Yeah. Another good play that Avery did, again, is something that if you play a lot of Legacy, you know what to do. You know what you're playing against. You got to fetch your basic up. And a lot of people, build decks that don't have that kind of capability. Ad Nauseam is one of those decks that has basics of every type and can get through Blood Moon. It can beat that. It can beat Wasteland, and even Stifle. Because eventually, if you're tapped out, you get to fetch freely. You'll be able to get your island swamp out. That's really all you need.
You see the hand there from Williams. He's got a Duress, an Infernal Tutor, 2 Lion's Eye Diamonds, and a Lotus Petal. So what he can do next turn is he can play Lotus Petal, cast Infernal Tutor, play those 2 Lion's Eye Diamonds, stack Infernal Tutor, sacrifice, and go get Ad Nauseam and cast Ad Nauseam with a black mana floating or whatever color mana he wants to float with a Lion's Eye Diamond and go crazy from there. So we could see a turn 2 kill here, depending on what Wells does.
Yeah, and we know that Wells really doesn't have much action to stop it. He's got a Probe, he's got Delver, but those aren't really interactive with what Avery's trying to do. And definitely not going to be enough beef on the board to put a threat on him before he's able to go off here. So I think I'm with you. I think we're going to see a turn 2 kill here.
So Delver's going to come into play. Now the only thing here is now Williams knows most of Wells' hand. Now Tarmogoyf was the card that was drawn for the turn for Tommy Wells. Not quite sure what the card that was drawn for the Gataxian Probe. Now, the one thing you have to worry about here is, did he just draw Forcible plus a blue card? Did he draw Daze? Do I go for it anyway? I mean, the guy's on a mulligan to 5, and I duressed him. He didn't have anything then. So is it go time, or do I wait and just duress him and then wait and then go for it next turn?
I think you can go either way. I don't know. I love going for the gusto. I mean, he has 2 unknowns. He could have drawn Force plus blue card. It would be real bad. I think this hand can beat Daze. I don't know. What do you think? I think I'd go for it. That's just because I love going for it.
Sure.
Know? But he's not really in any real danger, so duress would be a fine play too.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's not underneath like a significant amount of pressure where he has to rush. That's not where he's at in this game.
Yeah.
So he could very easily just go, all right, duress you, and then find out what the opponent has, and then just move forward. But then he'll have that always in the back of his mind of, okay, well, Wells is going to draw a card for his turn. Well, what was that mystery card?
Yeah.
So he's always going to be a little bit gun shy. So let's see what Williams wants to go for here.
I think he's going to go for it.
Here's a Lotus Petal. There's a Lion's Eye Diamond.
This feels like going for it to me.
This feels like going for it to me as well. Lion's Eye Diamond number 2 is the 3rd spell. Lion's Eye Diamond number 3 is the 4th spell. So now he's going to sacrifice that Lotus Petal. He's going to add some mana. He's going to play Infernal Tutor, that on the stack. Let's crack some diamonds.
Yep, and he can crack all 3, but I'd rather crack 2 here. See, and make sure nothing disastrous happens.
Yeah, because there's a chance that he may need to empty his hand again for some mana. So he's going to crack 2 of the diamonds. Infernal Tutor is going to resolve Hellbent style. So now we're going to go Demonic Tutoring. Keep in mind that he does have 6 mana floating. We'll see what colors he chose to name it. Of course, black will be for one of them, and we'll see what the other one is. So he's going to go 6 black total.
I mean, he could just chain Infernal Tutors here and then Tendrils. I think he might have enough mana to do that. He only needs to do it for 9 copies. Let's see, how many? That was 6 spells, right?
Well, he's got 5 spells in the stack so far.
He's got Lotus.
He's got Lotus Petal, triple Lion's Eye Diamond, so that's 4. And Infernal Tutor is 5. Ad Nauseam will be spell 6.
All right, he could. Let's see, with 6 mana, 6, 7, 8, 9. He could have had total Infernal Tutor. He could have used 2 more Infernal Tutors, putting him up to a 6, 7 spell. Then the Tendrils would be 8. It wouldn't be enough.
Yeah.
1 short. And that's kind of a cool interaction I've seen on the deck, too. A lot of times, just to get that additional spell, you can Infernal Tutor for an Infernal Tutor, and then get the last card as long as your mana is pretty good. So, but he will Ad Nauseam here. Pretty safe at 19 life, I'd say, with a bunch of mana floating.
All right. Showtime.
Up, and there's Tendrils.
All right,
so
take 4.
The mystery's gone.
Oh, boy.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my goodness. All right, Gemstone Mine. Keep in mind he has not played land yet this turn.
Right. And pretty much, I think this is death here already.
Preordain. There's another copy printing. Goes down to 9. Pedal down. There's a ritual, so it's going to put him down to 8. Inferno Tutor puts him down to 6.
This is just super dead. I think he's just doing it for
5.
good measure at this point to make sure he has enough ammunition.
4. Yeah, and he's got the ammo now, the Lotus Pedal, and he hasn't played a land yet. So at 4 life, he's going to be able to, because the storm count is at 6. He's going to play Pedal to make the storm count be 7.
Yeah, before he did this ad nauseum, he could have actually sacked the lines out Diamond 2 to get some more mana. I don't think it's going to be relevant here because I think Tommy is pretty much F6 at this point.
Yeah. I mean, we got triple Dark Ritual in the hand, so there's a Dark Ritual. He's going to use that last black mana floating. So that's be spell number 8. Dark Ritual again is going to be spell number 9.
Then we'll have, I mean, he can just go, I mean, this is lethal. There's nothing that he can do.
And as he goes, he casts one more Dark Ritual. That's going to be spell number 10, plenty of black mana floating, and he goes reaching for the old Tendrils of Agony, which he pulls forward, and he's going to cast it. Storm count is going to be for 11. That'll be 22, and that is going to do it. So Avery Williams is going to win game number 1 over Tommy Wells, ad nauseum Tendrils, up a game over Rug Delver, which means that we are going to bring it back here to the booth.
To the booth.
Where Shaheen is going to explain the directions to our premium giveaway, and I'm going to ask you the tough question.
Okay, so we have 6 months to giveaway this time. Giveaway 3, and we'll have a year in the finals, but let's do the 6 months right now. So you need to follow us at SCG Live, hashtag SCG Premium, in order to get paid. So Cedric's going to ask you a question. It's going to be something about either Magic related in this top 8, probably.
I won't do sports, I promise.
Yeah, no sports here. It could be basketball. Give a little stumperoo here.
Yeah.
So he's going to ask a question, you answer, just tweet at us, and we will read them, and we'll pick one. It is not speed, it's accuracy, so just make sure you are correct when you tweet at us.
All right, the question here has to talk about Avery Williams' deck. You take a look at his sideboard. He's got a 3 of in his sideboard, a green card that he uses to great effect against decks that have blue mana. Also has a tropical island to help put that into play. And if you can name that 3 of a green card in his sideboard, hashtag the answer, hashtag SCG Premium. Make sure you're following at SCG Live as well so we can get it over to the winner. And we will announce the winner at the conclusion of our semifinal round. But what we're going to do right now is we're going to analyze these sideboards and bring the match back to you. You've got Tommy Wells' deck list in front of you. I think Tommy wants to play more than a single turn.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so. I think he wants to keep it 7 or 6, going to 5.
Also
rough.
a good idea, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would do if I was him. Flusterstorm. Counterspells are good against this deck.
Noted.
Yeah. What about Sulfuric Vortex? I mean, this is a maybe card. I mean, it's 3 mana. It's kind of late, but it definitely puts a clock on there as well. Maybe. I'm not really excited about that, though. He has Surgical Extraction, a very good card against his deck.
That one.
Graph Digger's Cage. Also, Red Elemental Blast. That can stop a few things. It can stop like Ponders and Brainstorms. I don't know how good that might be as well. And then I've seen this come in, but this is like a desperation card. I don't think he's going to bring this in. I've seen Ancient Grudge. I've seen Wear and Tear is brought in against the Storm deck to maybe catch him off guard with the Lion's Eye Diamond. I don't know. It's, again, one of those tough things to do. You got to get real lucky in order to hit it. And you got to make sure, you got to kind of have to bank on a play mistake there as well, too. So I do see the counterspells coming in. I do see the blast coming in, maybe to deal with a couple of the cantrips, and surgical instructions definitely. But I don't see the other cards coming in. So how about on the other side here?
Take a look over here. You've got 2 copies of Abrupt Decay, 2 Chain of Vapors, 2 Slaughter Packs, a Surgical Extraction, a Cabal Therapy, a Massacre, a Tendrils of Agony, a Tropical Island of Caracas, and 3 copies of Carpet of Flowers. I expect to see Carpet of Flowers plus Tropical Island come in here, as it's a way to generate mana off of a deck that's going to have some blue lands. So, you're not so reliant on those rituals resolving. The rest of these cards, I don't think a ton of them are too exciting. I mean, Cabal Therapy will go along with the other discard here, too. Don't think you're going to need that second copy of Tendrils of Agony. So I think it's just going to be the Carpet, the Trop, and the Cabal Therapy that do come in here to assist Williams, who, again, is up a game. And don't forget about that other match on the other side between Thomason and Archer. As soon as we do have results between the old blue-white Stoneforge deck and blue-black Death Shadow, we'll bring them to you.
All right. Ad nauseum. One of these decks that, again, super old deck. these Storm decks have been around since the beginning of time here. Well, beginning of real competitive broken Storm time, anyway. And we've seen bannings with Mind's Desire. Obviously, in Legacy, that card can't be around. It'd be way too unfair. But I don't know if you remember. I do know you remember. Back in the day when it was extended and just dominant and extended. Mind's Desire. You had Early Harvest with Mind's Desire. You had all these different combos that go with it. Star Wars Kid, a guy from our area as well, the East Coast.
Chris McDaniel.
Yeah, did very, very well with it, almost winning a Pro Tour with it. And Storm is just an inherently broken mechanic. And you don't really see any reprints of, anything reprinted that would be anywhere near the old Storm cards. I mean, you had like things that bounced a bunch of things, or things that blew up a bunch of lands. You had Grape Shot. Nothing exactly broken like the original Storm series here that we see. So Rug Delver being on the play this time. Hopefully he gets to keep a good solid 7 here, and we'll see what goes on.
Quick update, Ty Thomason, who did defeat Wyatt Archer once already. He's your 2 seed, Archer's your 3 seed. Well, he did it again. He's up a game so far, so we'll see if he can take down the match. As you see, both players are shuffling up and getting ready for game 2 in front of us here. So everyone's this match. I got a feeling they might have to battle Ty Thomason, who again has not lost a match yet today. I know that you, again, DC, next weekend, you're playing some version of Stoneblade. And, we haven't seen that deck have a lot of success on the Open Series circuit for a little while, but maybe all it took was True Name Nemesis to bring it back on the map, because Ty Thomason has been dominant this weekend.
Yeah. I mean, the card is great. We've seen it in action. If there were any doubts before, those doubts have been quickly dispelled because it just cannot be killed. A lot of decks just have no inherent answer to it, so we'll see if it holds true here in this top 8 and see if he gets through and makes it to the finals. Alright, so shuffling up for game 2. What kind of hand does Tommy Wells want to see?
Delver.
Force of Will. Counter spells of some sort as well.
It's so important for him to get off to a good start with the Delver and Nimble Mongoose, but preferred threat is Delver, obviously, because it's probably going to become a 3-2 very early, much sooner than Nimble Mongoose has Threshold, and then you can apply the pressure, force the action from the Ad Nauseam Tendrils player to run into your Dazes and your Spell Pierces, your Fluster Storms, your Force of Wills, and then kill them. That's the whole plan of this matchup, but he needs to get off to a good start. He needs to get a threat into play, and if you have to choose one of those 1-mana threats, it's all about one of my least favorite cards in Magic history.
Yeah.
Delver of Secrets.
Definitely up there in my least favorite as well. I played on the enemy team playing Mono Blue Wizards, but that was the only time I ever casted the little guy. And I felt a little dirty afterward, not gonna lie. Felt a little like I played a blue Curd Ape, kind of feels like. Just flying and better in every way.
Gitaxian Probe going to start things off, so it's the info game. Here we go. We've got a Scalding Tarn, a Ponder, a Duress, a Probe, a Carpet of Flowers, Underground Sea, and a Gemstone Mine.
I actually like this hand a lot from
I
Avery.
do too, actually. I was actually thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah, it seems kind of like actionless, but the Carpet of Flowers, once you get that out against Tommy, you don't really have an answer to get rid of it. It's just going to sit there and add mana to his mana pool regularly there. The Duress obviously gives you the answers you need to remove Force of Will and other countermeasures from his hand. And the Probe, you get to see his hand, and Ponder, of course, digs. I like Avery's hand a lot here. Let's see what Tommy does on his first turn. He's going to say, go. You cannot go for the Carpet of Flowers, and I think you have to probe first and make sure there's no Stifle in your future. And we all see the Stifle right there at the very beginning of his hand. Tommy has it the whole time.
So Probe to begin. Now, what exactly is Wells going to do? Because he doesn't have the 1-drop. And you can tell he doesn't really want to give away his hand, dude. He's got like a red Elemental Blast there, too. That looks like he wants to kind of cast.
It looks like he's hiding the Stifle.
Yeah.
Put it in the middle of my hand here.
Yeah. You're going to have to show it.
Yep, and he does.
All right.
Oh, lots of Stifles.
All those Stifles. So here we go. We got a Pierce, a Daze, 2 Stifles, a Reb, and a Ponder. But what Tommy needs is he needs a threat.
Right. I think Avery will gladly play Draw Go with you, because once he draws like a Cabal Therapy or just has a critical mass of mana, he'll be able to get through all that counter magic. Because the funny thing about Storm, counter spells against Storm, don't typically do too hot. You got to counter actually the things way before the Storm, the mana sources themselves.
So let's see how Avery wants to proceed here. Because he wanted to establish that Carpet on turn 1, which he still can do with the Gemstone Mine, but he wanted to do it with a fetch land, go get a tropical island, put it in that way.
Right. So he's actually going to play fetch land here. So think. And see what he does. He drew a ritual for turn, so he's got even more mana. All the mana you could possibly want. Alright, Avery, what you going to do? He's going to say go. I mean, once you play that fetch land, you don't play the Gemstone Cavern, or Mine, excuse me, you're not going to have any other plays that turn. Because you can't fetch it and walk into Stifle. Knowing Tommy doesn't have a second land, too, you can't really play draw go for too long when you're stuck on that one land. And we mentioned Rug Delver's used to having one land, but usually you have, he's going to fetch here. Hopefully Avery fetches in response. Oh, he does not.
Oh, no. So he's opening himself up to getting stifled here.
Alright, whatever Tommy does with his land, Avery really needs to ditch that fetch land and then get a land in response. Maybe he's afraid of getting a dual land here and then getting wasteland. If maybe Tommy drew a wasteland for turn, but that would have to be right off the top and a wasteland,
Yeah.
Much more likely that Tommy has a card draw spell and he might just, need that land there to do a main phase in order to potentially hit a second land to have one untapped for the Stifle still. So whatever Tommy does here, Avery needs to fetch in response to dodge Stifle land here.
So let's see what Tommy wants to do. Because, the other thing, too, here is that because Williams does have some more lands in his hand, now here's a Ponder. And he says 1 second.
There we go.
I think, yeah, it is time to fetch. Okay. The other thing, too, is that, he could have been leaving that fetch land there, and this is kind of wishful thinking, but, to say, hey, you can stifle this so I can work my way through stifles. That's the other thing, too.
Right. Stifle gets pretty bad against this Ad Nauseam deck. It does stifle the Tendrils ability, but by the time they're doing all this stuff, you pretty much therapy out of their hand or duress it. So it's not one of those things. I don't even know if I'd leave all my Stifles in because every Stone's guy has a few basics. I guess it is necessary to just try to get that fetch land right off the bat. But against this deck, you're pretty much hitting fetch land or bust. Can't hit lines on Diamond. Mana ability.
You're never going to get this. It's like so unlikely that you're actually going to, they cast Tendrils for lethal and you stifle the Storm Trigger. That just doesn't happen in the real world.
No, it does not.
Alright, now, so Ponder's going to resolve.
Now, Trick Bind.
Heyo.
That'd be something. That costs 2 mana. That's about 2 mana spell. This deck's like 5 mana spell. So.
Let's see what Wells wants to do with this Ponder here. Going to consult his hand before deciding if we're going to keep the Ponder or are we going to shuffle up.
He's got land, so he's not shuffling anything.
All right, keeper.
All right, turn 2 for Avery.
So let's see what he wants to do on his turn. Again, it's like walking on eggshells. You got to make sure you get everything right. But the difference here, as he's going to play Underground Sea, is that there's no clock out there, and so that's the big problem here for Wells, is that his hand is like, all this reactive permission. But at the same time, again, for Williams, it's just, okay, I can navigate my way through that. It take as long as I want to, so long as you don't actually have a threat pressuring my life total, I can set it up and just do whatever I want. So
yeah.
Wells needs to find a Delver, a Nimble Mongoose, or a Tarmogoyf. He needs to find one really, really fast.
And actually, the top card of the library was none of those cards.
Yeah.
That was land. And I mean, he did need land to be fair. But yeah, like you said, he's going to need to add a threat to the board pretty quick or he's in trouble.
Ponder going to be cast here from Williams. Are we going to have a fight over this? We're going to see a daze take place?
I don't like this at all.
I'm a little bit surprised by that.
Only because, those days are pretty invaluable later in the game.
Yeah. I think he's going to be happy to pay for this,
just
right?
pay 1, yeah. No problem. Cool. I'll wait another turn if I have
Yeah.
to. Yeah.
They used another counterspell on this Ponder. That's great. So, all right. 1, 2, and 3. Abrupt Decay. 2 other cards here for William. See if he likes either of those cards.
You know, the more I'm watching, the more I like True Name Nemesis, and the more I'm watching, the more I dislike Daze in this format. And we've seen Daze kind of fall short, not even in this situation of dazing, the one-man spell. It's just like, once you know it's in the deck, it's so easy to play around it.
Yeah, that's a problem that I have with Daze. I think Daze is just like a really, really easy card to play around, and I've always felt that way. And also, if you want to get dazed, you can play a game in such a fashion that you do get dazed, and then put them behind on lands.
Yeah.
You can just run your spell into Daze, have it get countered, which is fine because all you care about is like time walking them on a land drop,
Right.
and taking the
Absolutely.
initiative back. So now Williams is ahead on the lands as Wells is going to play out a Delver Secret. So that's a big draw there because he needs a threat so bad. As Williams is going to untap his lands, take a draw, draws Abrupt Decay, so he can actually slow down Delver here. Make it so that Wells has to draw another threat.
Abrupt Decay is a surprising one. I guess you see the deck list and you know that Grafdigger's Cage is a problem. But it does kill Delver here as well. And let's see, he's going to have a Duress this turn to kind of see where he's at, and that is what he's going to do. Avery, again, doesn't really have a lot of the combo stuff. He's got a bunch of rituals, he's got some mana. He does have, it looks like an Infernal Tutor and a Brainstorm. So he can pretty much go pretty deep here with those rituals, but he has to get rid of that Brainstorm. We've seen players kind of go all in with his deck and then say, oh, I actually have a card still in my hand with this Infernal Tutor, and I cannot get rid of it. So got to make sure you're all in here, especially when you don't have a Lion's Eye Diamond to ensure that that's going to happen. Alright, so he's going to Spell Pierce the Duress.
I think you pay.
Pay 2.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it sucks that you have to, use a Gemstone Mind counter to do so. But again, you don't let these cards be hard counters. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I just want to pay again and just take a look at his hand and see what's going on over there. That's all I want to do.
Who cares? Pay 2. I'm at 17 life. That Delver's not killing me anytime soon.
Definitely a matchup where you use your life total as a resource.
I guess he's thinking maybe I just want to play Carpet of Flowers and say, fine, you got it.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I mean, I guess I understand that thought, but it's just like, this spell pierce. I mean, it's not actually countering my spell. So if it's not actually countering my spell, then make him have another counter spell.
Yeah, I would pay 2. I want to see the hand.
Yeah, well, here's Carpet of Flowers.
It's like add mana, free mana for days. He's going to read it, and we probably should get Carpet of Flowers on the screen here. It's not exactly a real, popular card. It is in Legacy now. It's a staple in the Ad Nauseam deck. But for many players that have been, new to the game, it's something that you might not see all the time. So during your main phase, you may add to X mana of one color to your mana pool, where X is the number of target or islands target opponent controls. Rug Delver happens to have all islands, so it's going to add mana per land there.
Yeah, Red Elemental Blast is going to get turned over here for Wells. Now, the interesting thing about Carpet of Flowers is during your main phase, it does not say which main phase, so that triggers on both main phases, which is the important thing to keep track of. But you can only use it once on the turn. So
Right.
if you go to main phase 1, Carpet trigger goes in the stack. You say, I'm not going to use it. Do some stuff, go to main phase 2, use the Carpet trigger. Carpet trigger goes in the stack, use it in main phase 2 is what you can do. So it's a card that you really have to know how to use because it is worded in an odd manner. So here's a Brainstorm here from from Williams.
Alright, and Brainstorm again will be good. Kind of
Red Elemental Blast this.
won't matter actually. Avery has the tools to win already. I think since he didn't pay for that dress, he's going to actually be kind of cautious. He has Infernal Tutor, he's got Rituals. You can't really go wrong with that because you can really dig deep and then you can either get a Pass in Flames and win that way, or you can go the route that he chooses to go pretty often, that's with Ad Nauseam. We've seen Avery pretty much have opportunities to use something besides Ad Nauseam, but he seems more comfortable with that way to win. And so far it's worked for him. So
Brainstorm going to resolve here a couple ponders, stuff of that nature. So he's got to put 2 cards back. Probably wants to keep at least 1 ponder in his hand so he can ponder and potentially shuffle here. So we'll see exactly how he wants to set things up. Don't forget that Carpet is out there Carpet is out there too, excuse me. So I'm not sure if that has been triggered yet this turn or not, as we are currently in main phase 1. This is also a situation, Shaheen, where you actually need to announce which main phases you're in and the Carpet trigger as well.
Gotta be careful. Especially when you're playing with old sweet cards like this. Alright, Avery putting a couple back. Not in... there is some need for speedy play, of course. There's Delver on one side, you know. But he still has time. He has an abrupt decay where he can stop the onslaught at any point. Cannot be countered. No big deal. Alright, another Carpet of Flowers. So this is lots of mana here. And is he going to abrupt decay here? And he is. Okay. So abrupt decay. Buying tons of time for Avery. And now there's pretty much no pressure. Alright, Ponder from Tommy. And look at 1, 2, and 3. I think that's a Nibble Mongoose. And a couple cards you can't see too well. Alright, so Nibble Mongoose, Rethreat, huh? But he tapped his Trop Island, so the green is tapped, so he's unable to win that way. Or, excuse me, resolve it that way. He still has a Stifle in hand. Here's another area where Stifle's has been pretty underwhelming in this matchup.
Yeah.
Alright, and he says go. Did he play his land for turn? He drew Wasteland. I don't think he played land. He's had the same two land out the whole time, I'm pretty sure. There's a Ponder on this side too. Alright, just building and building. Adding cards to his hand here, more rituals and duresses on top. And he will duress here. I think this time we're actually going to see his hand.
Hiya! Wasteland. Jeez, that's a lot of stifles. Whew.
Oh my lord. That is just...
Cabal Therapy, where are you?
That is just too many stifles.
That is a lot of stifles.
And I think he could have played the Wasteland that turn too. And he kept the lands on top. He kept the 3 on top with Ponder. So I wonder what card he actually wanted from those. Maybe he's hiding the actual card on top.
Take a single stifle. I feel like I want to take the red blast there. And the reason is because, like, you know, I have therapy in my deck. I've got 2 of them and then an additional 1 in my sideboard. So I mean, assuming that those are still in the deck, I just want to draw towards one of those.
I'll just take it because 2 stifles, same as 3 stifle.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. Yeah, you got 1 stifle, you got 2, you got 3, all same.
Yeah, too many stifles here. Alright, so we're just Carpet Flowers definitely gives Avery the amount of mana he needs.
Yeah.
At any point he can just overwhelm Tommy with mana advantage, but then, you know, he has rituals too. I think he's just going to go for it right here at 14 life. And I wouldn't mind doing this as well. So he's actually writing down spell count here. Yeah, he's going to go for it here. So he's going to go ritual, and then he's going to cast Infernal Tutor, get Ad Nauseam, and then try to win that way.
Yeah, that's what I think, and I think that's the best. He's got 2 black and 2 blue. So I think that's the best course of action, because now he's just kind of a boatload of mana, and what he can do is he can go, as you mentioned, Cabal Ritual, Inferno Tutor is going to be Hellbent, go get Ad Nauseam, do the Ad Nauseam thing, find a Cabal Therapy, take your Stifles, and kill ya, assuming that everything goes right, obviously.
Right.
He doesn't kill himself with Ad Nauseam, so he's going to keep track of Storm Count and the mana and all that jazz.
Yeah, 14 is a pretty good life total.
Agreed.
Should be fine.
Oh, so there's your Eye Tutor. And he knows the coast is clear, obviously, because he knows the hand from the duress.
Yeah, I mean, just a handful of Stifles and Blast. It seems like he did board in the Blast, but again, the Blast don't really counter anything besides Brainstorms and Ponders. So I don't know if it's a good card in this matchup, or good enough, if you will.
Past in Flames.
I guess he's just going to Infernal Tutor again. That's fine. But it's definitely wastes a decent amount of mana here.
A little surprised to see him go get that. I don't have a great look at what's in his graveyard, so we'll see what he's got over
I mean,
there.
he's just going to re-ritual and then Infernal Tutor once again.
I guess the other thing he can do is he can make more rituals, and then I think there's 2 duresses down there, so you can go take your stifle, cast Infernal Tutor, and then go get tendrils. So I think that Past in Flames is good enough to get the job done here.
I think so too. So he's going to add a red with the Gemstone Mine.
Yeah, so Gemstone Mine's going to go bye-bye, which that could actually be important for threshold purposes. I'm pretty sure he has threshold, but, you know, because the cards are going to start coming out of the graveyard now, and we don't have a great look at how many cards are down there, I think think there was a decent amount. So
Yep.
there's a ritual. So he's going to start here with Cabal. And he's going to fire off another Cabal ritual that he brings to the forefront. Plenty of cards in the graveyard too, and he's got those 2 Duresses down there. So I think, assuming that everything adds up correctly, there's 2 Stifles in the grip. So that means 2 Duresses take the 2 Stifles, and then I tutor and goes and gets Tendrils, and Tendrils is lethal. You see he's making sure he's got the necessary mana floating and spell count and all that stuff. So definitely take your time on this one.
Yeah.
You want to make sure you get it right.
Let's all calm down and relax. Let's all be cool here.
Yeah, we are a few spells away from making the finals for what obviously is a pretty young kid right here.
Yeah.
Playing Storm deck.
He looks about 13, 14, so.
I'll take the over. Take the over. I think right now we're looking at a 16-year-old Avery Williams.
Oh, okay. Definitely better than at Magic than I was at 16.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. I could barely, scrape together a 60-card deck. I was about 71-card deck around that time.
You go big or go home.
Oh, yeah.
I like your style.
I want to play all my cards.
I like your style.
That's why 6-card minimum. I mean, do you go the minimum speed limit when you drive?
Dude, he's 19.
19?
Heck, no way.
No way, yeah. Just challenge that.
No way. Come on. It's unbelievable.
And look at his occupation. He's actually making fun of himself from the feature match earlier.
Says he's a punter as his occupation from that mistake earlier. It's good to see that he bounced back from this, though.
Yeah.
And again, he's a couple spells away from potentially making the finals, as long as he gets all the math right here. Because, again, we don't have a great idea how much mana's floating. But I think, and he's taking his time here, so he's going to duress, say, okay, give me your stifle. And this is what I thought was going to happen. So, duress, give me your other stifle.
Yep, I'll take all your stifles.
Because you are not touching my tendrils. Your red elemental blast does not matter. And so now there's your infernal tutor. I got no cards in my hand.
Pretty sure this Tendrils is for
100,000.
Yeah, this is definitely more than 17.
Yeah, I mean, spell count was at 6. And
couple Duresses.
Yeah, I mean,
Infernal Tutor.
Yeah, and I don't know if you count the Cabal Rituals in there, but if you count Duress, that's 8, Infernal Tutor's 9, and the Tendrils is 10. So we're doing more than enough damage, and that is going to get the job done. So Avery Williams with Ad Nauseam Tendrils is going to defeat Tommy Wells.
Yep.
2-0, and that means Ad Nauseam Tendrils is moving on to the finals. Again, Tommy Wells was our player who had 2 losses, so kind of playing with some house money there.
Yeah.
Making the top 8 with his good tiebreakers. But at the end of the day, his run ends in the semifinals, and that means, again, that Avery Williams is moving on to the finals. The sheet of paper says he's 19. I don't buy it.
I don't buy it either. And, like you said, on house money, X and 2 making top 8, you got to feel good.
Absolutely.
I don't care how I do in the top 8. When I'm X and 2, I'm ecstatic for sinking.
For sure.